All right, good morning, guys. This is 11.3, perimeter and area of similar figures. And we'll get started on the next page here. If you need it paused, make sure you do so. Tell the sub to pause it. And away we go. Okay, so this page here, it's good, but I'll try to do a better job explaining on the next page here. Okay, so here's what's true about similar figures. They have the same shape, but one's usually just bigger than the other. Now you can grab one of three things. You could have sides, sides, and then you could have a perimeter, and then you could have an area. Now they're all ratios, okay? So I should probably have put side ratio, perimeter ratio, and area ratio. Okay, so if you just have two random numbers on this object like A and B, that ratio would be A to B. Let's go from one to the other. Now your perimeter ratio is the same as the side ratio. Now, for example, let's say you had 2 as a square, a side length of 2, and you had a bigger square with a side length of 4, right? Okay, so the ratio is 2 to 4, or if you reduce it down, it's 1 to 2, right? All right, now let's say you're talking perimeter, so you got perimeter's 8. I'll write that over here, perimeter's 8. Now let's say you got 4, 4, and 4, so that's 16, right? 8 to 16. That also reduces to 1 to 2. So the nice thing about the sides and perimeter ratio is they're the same. So if the side is A to B, the perimeter is A to B. And then the last one is your area ratio. And this is the one that changes. So if I found the area of this square, it's 2 times 2, which is 4. The inside would be 4. If you find the area of this one, it's 4 times 4, which is 16. So then you'd say, well, what's the relationship from 4 to 16? Or how do you turn the 4 into a 16? It's not what you think. Some people would say you'd multiply by 4, but it's actually you take this number and you square it. 4 squared is 16. So what you do is you take your perimeter ratio, which would be 1 to 2, and you would square it. Okay, so first let's talk about this. 4 over 16 reduces down to 1 to 4, right? 1 to 4. And then how do you go from 1 to 2 to 1 to 4? Well, if you square the number 1, you get 1. If you square the number 2, you get 4. So it's a squared dot dot b squared. Okay, I probably didn't do the best job explaining that, so we'll get to the next problem here. Maybe it'll make a little bit more sense. Okay, so we want to go from red to blue. So we have three things. We have side ratio, and this one does go into your notes. Yeah, I think it's 4 problems today, and all of them do go into your notes. Side ratio, perimeter ratio, and then area ratio. Okay, here we go. So the side ratio, 8 to 12. You know it's the side ratio because 8 is on the side. So is 12. Reduce down, you can divide them both by 4. 2 to 3. Nice thing about side ratio in comparison to the perimeter ratio is they're the same. 2 to 3. Area ratio, you square them. 2 squared is 4. 3 squared is 9. And those are the answers they want. They want the perimeter ratio and the area ratio. Now, okay, here's a good question for you. How do you go backwards? So let's say here's the area ratio. How do you go to the perimeter ratio? You take the square root of 4, which is 2, and you take the square root of 9, which is 3. All right. I have to shrink this up a little bit so I have room to write. Maybe. Okay, here we go. I'll abbreviate. We have side ratio, perimeter ratio, and area ratio. What this problem is saying is the sides are 10 and 14. Okay, those are things that you do know right now. You also know that you could reduce it down to 5 to 7. Since the side ratio is the same as the perimeter ratio, it's 5 to 7. The area ratio is 25 to 49 because you square them. Okay, so let's read into the question a little bit more. If the carpet for the bedroom costs $225 and the bedroom is this one, When you buy carpet, you buy it in square foot or area. We're looking for the cost of that one. So between these three numbers, the one we're going to use to set up our proportion is this one, because it's area. The bedroom is the smaller object. The den is the larger one. So we have the bedroom and we have the den. Between 25 and 49, 25 would be the smaller one. That goes with the bedroom. 49 goes with the den. Set that equal to. Now, the $225, that went with the bedroom, so that'll go on top, $225. X is what we're trying to find. Cross them up diagonally. 25x equals 49 times 225. Okay, you'll multiply and then divide by 25. The final answer for this one would be $441. It costs $441 to carpet the den. Okay, so again, I'm going to make a picture here, and I'm just going to do side, perimeter, area. Okay, so the picture on this one would be a baking pan, which is 15 by 10. The smaller baking pan, you just know has an area of 96 inches squared. And these are 10 inches and 15 inches. And they're looking for the width of the smaller pan, so I'll put an X right here. Okay, and just a heads up, this is also 10, right? Okay, so in other words, 10 would match up with X if you're comparing ratios. But let's start here. You know the side of the large one. They're 15 and 10. You could find the area of the baking pan by taking 10 times 15, or 150 inches squared. So let's put that in the area ratio. The area was 150 to 96. Dividing both of them by 6, you come up with 25 over 16. All right, I probably should write it like this, 25 over 16. To go to the perimeter or side ratio, you take the square root of 25 and 16, which is 5 over 4, and another 5 over 4. Okay, so let's go with the large pan and the small one. The 5 would go with the large pan. The 4 would go with the small pan because 5 is bigger. Now, since we're trying to find X, which represents the side, that's why I grabbed this. Because of this, it's a side. And now I want to match them up. So 10 is on the large one, so 10 goes on top. X goes on the bottom. Cross them up diagonally. 5x equals 40. Or X equals 8. Okay, and the last one. Again, I'll have to reduce this down here so I have room to write. Okay. All right, so a picture would be nice. So I have an octagon with a side length of 8. It's going to be really tough to draw an octagon on here. Okay, that's a horrible octagon, but anyway, one of the sides is 8, and in the middle is 309 feet squared. Okay, now there's another octagon, but it's supposed to be a lot smaller. I'm not going to be able to draw a really small one, otherwise it won't even look like an octagon. This is bad. This is bad. Okay, anyway. All the way around is 24. The perimeter is 24 inches. So if you want to find an individual side, if all the way around is 24 and there's 8 equal sides, 24 divided by 8 is 3 inches. We're looking for the area. I'll put X inches squared in the inside. All right, so set up side, perimeter, area. Here's what we know about them. We know one side is 8 and the other is 3. You don't have to worry about units because we're just using a ratio. So we can keep it 8 to 3. The perimeter is also 8 to 3. The area is 64 to 9. Okay, so I want to find area, so I better be using the 64, 9. There's a large object on the board, and there's a small object on the board. The large object gets 64. The small object gets 9. The large object has an area of 309. The small object has an area of x, what we'd like to know. So 64x equals 309 times 9. Okay. Give me a sec. I got to do this in the calculator here. I'm getting 43.5. X equals 43.5. And that's the right answer, guys. That would be the area of the smaller one right here. And now, it is in inches, though. Inches squared. Okay, there. And, yep, that's all we're doing for today. Okay, if you have questions, rewatch the video. Again, it goes sides, perimeter, area. Sides and perimeter are the same. Area, you square them. Set up your proportions, and you're good to go. If you need to watch this video again, it is Sargent Silbernagel. And this was section geometry. I think I have it labeled 11.3. Have a great day, everybody.